Hi everyone, my name is Katy and thank you for joining me for another video. Today we are doing my January reading wrap-up in my reading journal, so let's get started. So the first thing I need to do to fill out my journal for January is fill in my bookshelf spread. I've already written in the titles of all the books that I read in January, and I'm just filling them in according to the color key at the bottom. This month I had a 2-star read, a couple 3s, a couple 4s, and a couple 5s. And once I finish filling that out, I am flipping to the next page in my journal, which is my Zodiac favorites. Aquarius goes until mid-February, so I'm not going to fill that out yet. And then I've already filled in my series tracker for the month. I didn't read anything from my physical TBR, so it is time to fill out my bingo for the month. I actually completed 3 of the prompts on this bingo board, continuing a series, reading a 2024 release, and reading a retelling. I'm going for a blackout on this board and I have made some good headway. Then I am filling out my January stats on my stats overview. So this month I read 8 books, and then I'm writing in how many physical, ebooks, and audiobooks I read, as well as how many owned, Kindle Unlimited, and borrowed books I read. I've been keeping up with these spreads for my book mail and my Kindle Unlimited TBR. I didn't read any ARCs this month. And then this is a new spread that I made for the Year of Adventure for the Magical Readathon. I think it just looks so cute with the peachy pinks and reds. I love these stickers from Marigona Sully Art. I love the little dragons and Kitty and the books and the witches. I just need more dragons in my life, so I had to use them on this spread. In January, I did the read a physical book prompt. So I am just adding that book here into the spread. And then on the left, I'm just filling in that prompt with my Tombow dual brush pen. Now I've already filled in my January cover page with the books that I read that month. So I just need to add my stats and my favorite book here at the bottom. And then I have also already filled in my little book reviews as I read each book, but I still need to add in the book covers. So the first book that I read was Below Zero, which is one of Ali Hazelwood's feminist novellas. It followed the same formula as her other books and the other novellas, and I just didn't really feel chemistry or anything toward these characters, so that was a 2-star for me. The next that I read was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This was really beautiful. It was a 4-star read for me. The romance with Henry I adored. However, it has a dual timeline, and some of the older timeline just lost my interest. But once we met Henry, I was totally all in. But that is why it was a 4-star. It was just the pacing and holding my interest kind of failed a little bit. Then I read Kiss of the Selkie, which is a 5-star read for me, and I did a whole spread for this one, so I will talk about it then. And then Sky in the Deep was a Vikings-inspired story. 2 dueling clans, and one person goes and sees the reality of the other clan. It also had a nonchalant romance that I enjoyed. This one was a 3-star read for me. And then I read A Fragile Enchantment. This was one of my most anticipated books for the beginning of this year. and this was a 4-star read for me. And again, I did a whole spread for this one, so I will talk about it more in a little bit. And then I read Shatter Me, the first of the Shatter Me books, and it was fun, it was goofy, it was very 2010s coded. You know, the height of dystopian YA, and you could feel that. I could tell that it is a very bingeable kind of story. I listened to the audiobook, and I think I will continue to listen to the audiobooks like while I'm cooking. It's got that kind of vibe for me. Moving on, I have already filled out these book reviews as well, and then I had an extra spot, so I just filled it with a quote and more stickers and washi from Maragona Suli Art. The next book that I read was These Hollow Vows, which is the first in a duology. It is compared a lot to ACOTAR, which I could see, but it was different. It had a prominent love triangle going on, and I really like friends to lovers, so I was cheering for one of the love interests, but at the end there's like a cliffhanger where maybe he's actually a bad guy kind of thing, and I hate that kind of stuff because I like good people. But yeah, I will continue on in the series just to see how it ends. And then the last book that I read in January was Children of Fallen Gods, and this is the second book in the War of Lost Hearts, and again, this was a 5-star read, so I have a whole spread for it, and we'll talk about it later. So moving on, I have this 1-page spread for a Fragile Enchantment, and I think it turned out so cute. I started with some washi tape from Simply Gilded. This is a very cute fairy tale landscape design. And then I'm adding in these fairy tale stickers from Mushy Works. And I love all the blues. I think it's so beautiful. And I'm pairing them with this PET tape from Notebook Therapy as part of their Lucky Bag this year. And I think all of the blues and the fairy tale accents look so cute here. And then I'm adding in the book cover, and I just copy and paste the covers into a Google Doc and then print them on printer paper and use a glue tape to add them into my journal. And then I'm just adding more of the stickers from Mushy Works. So this spread is for A Fragile Enchantment by Allison Saft. It is a YA fantasy romance. It is set in a fantasy fictive version of England and Ireland. Our main girl, Neve, is Irish, and she also has magical powers. She can sew emotions and feelings with her sewing skills and her magic, but her magic also is costing her, so she is kind of dying and she doesn't know how much longer she has. And I really like how her, I guess, quote, chronic illness is portrayed, not as something that our love interest can just fix with love or something. It's just a part of her, which I did really enjoy. There's also bisexual rep in this book, which I also enjoyed. And basically, she is our Irish magical seamstress who has taken a job working for the English royalty, but there is a lot of class struggle and politics going on that she bears witness to in her role, and she kind of has to figure out what's the right thing to do and how to navigate her new position and her new job. And then, of course, at the same time, a romance ensues, and it's really sweet. There's a lot of trauma kind of brought up on both sides of the romance, and it is written very beautifully, but I did have a problem with the ending just feeling clunky and rushed and wrapped up within 10 pages kind of thing. But it is fun and kind of felt like a warm hug book. It was very comforting and sweet. So I gave it a 4-star and I really did enjoy it. Also, the cover is super, super beautiful, but that's just a side note. The next spread is for Kiss of the Selkie, which is the 3rd book in Tasanya Odette's Enchanted by the Fae series. Each of the books in this series is based on a different princess and fairy tale, and this one is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, but instead of being a mermaid, our main character is a Selkie, which is a sea fae whose unseelie form is a seal. We met this character in the previous book and know that she is in hiding from her parents, one of whom is the Seelie, King of the Sea, and the other is the Unseelie, Queen of the Sea, I guess. She is the Ursula-like character, and she is hiding from her mom, so she's undercover in this little town. She thieves for a living to get by. She loves shiny things, of course. There's lots of references to The Little Mermaid just in the set dressing and character building and everything. But basically our story begins when she rescues a priest from drowning. And when she does that, she makes her presence known to her mom. And it turns out that that man, that priest, is part of a religion that really does not like Fae and has history of being involved in the anti-Fae civil war, basically, in this world. And another thing I didn't mention is that our main character has a deadly kiss. So once she makes her presence known to her mom makes a deal with her to kill this priest that she saved so that she won't have to have a deadly kiss anymore. And we find out that our priest is in a marriage competition, so basically The Bachelor, and she of course has to sign up to compete in the Bachelor competition. And everything ensues. It is so fun. There's lots of tension and angst, and I really love this one. I did not expect to love it as much as I did because I don't usually love sea or mermaid type stories, but oh my god, the romance was just so good, and I just love all of the books in this series, so this was a heavy 5-star fantasy romance for me. I loved it. The materials that I used on this page are some washi tapes from Notebook Therapy and Simply Gilded. The hardcover book print is in the top right corner by the author. In the bottom left corner is the Little Mermaid art by Coralie Reynolds that I got off of their Redbubble shop. And then the other stickers are from Artimation on Etsy. I love how this spread turned out. Maisie, our main character, her hair is pink, so I love the pink and all of the stickers and everything. I just think it's perfect for this story, and I'm super happy with it. And then I add in a piece of paper between the pages just so no pen smears or anything. Moving on to the third and final book that I did a spread for this month, and that was Children of Fallen Gods by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. I'm using stickers from Mushy Works and washi tape from Notebook Therapy. I love the dark fairy vibes of these materials. I think that this turned out so good and really evokes the vibe of this whole series. Since this is a second book in a series, I don't know how much to share about it. Also, this is my first time talking about books and trying to talk about them without giving spoilers or anything, so please give me grace. I'm trying. Thank you so much for the love on the book journaling videos, and I will continue to put these out if you all like them. Anyways, back to this book. It is about a world where there is a lot of complex magic. Our main character was formerly a slave and went through a lot of trauma that really is explored in the first book. She ends up harnessing a power called Riche, and it is like a second voice inside her head. It's like its own character. And in this book, we see how that magic is used and how the people around her, the government, the military around her, uses her and this power for their own military gains and everything. She does not want to kill people. She is a good person. And so you get her dealing with the costs of war, and it's quite deep. It's quite moving. I really love the themes in this series because it deals a lot with trauma and power and identity and what is the meaning of home, and just really great themes. I recommend it if you like fantasy and or fantasy romance, because there is also a very good romance in these books, and it is not toxic at all. He supports her and is so good, at least in the second and first book. I haven't read the third book yet, but I am excited to do that very soon. So it's so refreshing to have your male main character be not toxic in a fantasy romance relationship. So love that. But Tasana, our main character, her own magic involves creating butterflies, and there's always butterflies around her. So that is why I went with these washies and stickers and all of the butterflies and fairy and mushroom kind of vibes. This book is very violent, honestly, and it's not all sweet and pretty and fairy vibes at all. But I just love the aesthetic of how this turned out anyway. Compared to the first book, which is told fully in Tasana's POV, this one has 3 POVs. So it is Tasana, our male love interest, Max, and then a new character named Afa. And the addition of her story brings this book to a whole other level. There are so many twists and turns and reveals, and her storyline adds so much world building and fleshes out the magic, the history, the lore, everything about the book. And I just think it was done so well. I was nervous at first getting a brand new POV, but ended up absolutely loving it. And overall, this was just a great 5-star read for me. It's pretty chunky. It deals with a lot of war and violence, like I said, but then there's also sweet moments. There's also kind of holy shit moments. It's just great. I really loved it. So moving on, we will be setting up my February cover spread. So I am using these Valentine's Day Witch stickers from Maragona Sully Art, and then this washi tape from Simply Gilded. It is so cute. These are perfect Valentine's Day bookshelves, and I knew that I had to use them for February. This month, I hope to read a bunch of fantasy romance and romantasy, which is what I usually read all the time anyway, but I am excited nonetheless. I also have a trip coming up this month and hope to have a lot of time to crank out some TBR books, maybe an ARC, some Kindle Unlimited books. We'll see. My Kindle is stocked and ready to go, so I'm hopeful and hope that I have a great reading month. I used like every sticker on that dang sticker sheet to fill up this page, and I think it turned out really cute. So then I'm just going in with my Pigma Micron to pen in the February book's title. I think my favorite sticker from this sheet is definitely the little cat with the love note. It's just adorable, and it looks like my cat, so I like that too. And then adding some final stickers, all of the little hearts to fill in some of the empty space. There's not much empty space, but I am filling it all in anyway. And then I am drawing in my little bookshelf. This worked really well for me last month. I like having a visual representation of all of the books that I read, and I think it just looks really cute on the cover page like this. And then I just went in and wrote the little books read, pages read, average rating, and favorite book. Again, I really like having all of this information easily accessible here on the cover spread. And I finished out the spread by adding in some twinkles and dots with my Tombow dual brush pen, as well as filling in the shelf on the right side. Alright everyone! Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun filling out my journal this month, and I read a lot of really good books this month and hope to do so in February as well. I know that doing all of this can seem like a lot to some people, but crafting and scrapbooking has always been a huge hobby of mine, and mixing it with my reading hobby and writing about the books that I read each month is a lot of fun for me. This is also the first video I've ever made like this with my monthly wrap-up and everything, so if you like this one, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more from me, be sure to hit subscribe. I hope that you and yours are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you again next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye!